What's up everyone? You already know what time it is. Today's video is different. We're going deep because this story is way bigger than just trolling or clout chasing. Let me ask you something. What if Johnny Somali did all the same disrespectful things in the United States that he did in Japan and South Korea? What would have happened? What kind of legal consequences, street dangers, or even real-world beatdowns would he be facing? Because let's be real, if you've seen what this guy did overseas, you already know he crossed every line imaginable, and somehow, he's still walking free. Let's rewind and break it down first. Johnny Somali first went viral for harassing Japanese people. He literally mocked the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombings. Yes, one of the darkest tragedies in human history, right to the faces of Japanese citizens. He screamed offensive stuff in public, disrespected people on trains, yelled at elders, live-streamed every second of it, and laughed about it afterward. And Japan? They didn't do much. They gave him a few warnings, then eventually deported him. But let's be honest, he got off easy. Instead of learning his lesson, Johnny thought, well, that blew me up online. Let's do it again. This time he set his sights on South Korea, thinking it's just like Japan, and that Korean people will give him the same attention. But the disrespect got worse. He mocked a cultural statue that represents the suffering of comfort women, a dark chapter of Korea's wartime history. He danced around it, laughed, made inappropriate gestures. Imagine doing that to a war memorial in the US? That wouldn't end well, would it? Even though Korea arrested him, it wasn't anything life-changing. He still had access to the internet, still found ways to post, and still mocked the country even after being locked up. So now let's imagine this. What if Johnny Somali did all of this in the United States? Let's go deep, or because this is where things would have gotten ugly. Let's say Johnny Somali comes to the US and does the same kind of thing. Screaming racial slurs, harassing women, mocking a national tragedy, or defiling a memorial. That's not trolling anymore. That's not content. That's straight up criminal. Here's how the US would have handled it. Disorderly conduct. That alone can land you up to 12 months in jail in most states. Hate speech or racial harassment. Depending on the state, this can be classified as a hate crime, especially if it targets a protected group. And touching or following women without consent. And now we're talking about misdemeanor, sexual harassment, or even felony assault. Defacing memorials or statues, this one's serious. In some states like Texas or Virginia, it's a felony with a sentence of up to 10 years. And here's what people forget. Live streaming while committing crimes doesn't protect you, it's not a joke. It actually makes things easier for prosecutors, because now you've filmed your own evidence. And if you're a foreigner, yeah, visa revoked, deported, and banned from re-entering permanently. But that's just the legal part. Let's talk about what the people in the US would have done. Now let's talk about the part no one wants to say out loud, but everybody knows is real. In the US, if you do what Johnny Somali did in Japan and Korea, you're not just dealing with cops, you're dealing with people. Neighborhoods, gangs, individuals, whole communities. You disrespect the wrong person or culture on the wrong block, and that's a death wish. Let's say Johnny Somali walks into Brooklyn live streaming himself mocking 9/11 victims, or he's in Chicago yelling racial slurs at random black folks for clout, or he pulls up to a Mexican neighborhood in East LA making jokes about cartel violence or Day of the Dead traditions. He would not leave that block in one piece. Even prank YouTubers have gotten hurt for way less. Some of them were just throwing pies or pretending to scare people, and they got knocked out cold, chased with bats. Shot at imagine someone like Johnny mocking a Vietnam veteran memorial, or harassing someone at a Native American gathering, or filming a Muslim prayer session just to be funny. Bro, there are people out here who will die for their culture. They'll go to jail to protect their community's respect. And you cross that line, you're not going viral, you're going missing.
Because it looks like he has no agenda, like he has no anti-Korean agenda, I think that's the only thing keeping him alive in Korea right now, honestly. Because he's insulting Korea, but because he just came out of Japan as well and he got a travel ban for insulting the Japanese, and especially since he was insulting one of the key monuments of Korean expression of independence against Japanese colonial rule, the fact that he was jailed in Japan for insulting Japanese people, I think is the only thing keeping him alive in Korea. Otherwise, guns or no guns, there would be no more Johnny Somali.
And let's not forget about gangs. Some neighborhoods are run by organizations. Bloods, Crips, Latin Kings, MS-13, and they don't care if you're an influencer. You walk in mocking their symbols, filming their people. That's automatic green light. You're now a target. No second chances, no my bad, you disappear.
Outside his face.
Again, bro, you have to assess the threat. The manager, the dude working inside a Foot Locker, he more than likely ain't got no hammer on him. The dude is out there talking reckless, more than likely he's talking reckless for a reason, because he feels like he has the upper hand somehow.
You fuck us in LA, we go on the roofs and literally snipe you, motherfuckers. You fuck with us in the motherland, you're fucking dead.
Now here's the scariest part of this whole story. What happens when Johnny Somali finally returns to the United States? Let's be real. This man didn't just embarrass Japan and Korea, he embarrassed America. He made Americans look like disrespectful, racist, ignorant fools across the world, and people in the US saw that. Veterans saw that. Korean Americans, Japanese Americans, Muslim communities, Asian American elders, they all saw that. So when Johnny steps back onto American soil, he's not coming back to love, he's coming back to rage. There could be activist protests at the airport, people might confront him in public demanding answers, he might get recognized in the streets and surrounded by people who aren't fans. And let's say someone like a Korean American gang member sees him at a local market, or a Japanese American elder who lost family in Hiroshima sees him mocking again online. That's not going to end with a conversation. Even outside of street danger, Johnny could face organized pressure. Public petitions to ban him from social media, cancel his bank accounts, deplatform him from YouTube or Twitch, even FBI monitoring if the content borders on hate speech or threats. Because here's the thing, once you humiliate the country you're from, your own country turns against you.
They saved Brittany Griner, they saved A$AP Rocky, Donald Trump, Marco Rubio, if you can see this, Barron Trump, I know you're tapped in with the internet. Please free me, I'm stuck, I'm an American citizen. I know the State Department, they talked to the Romanians, they got Andrew Tate and they got Tristan Tate out of lockup and travel ban in Romania. Please, save, not Johnny Somali, Johnny Ramsey Ismail, the American. Please, thank you so much.
So Johnny, if you're listening, this might be your last warning. You thought Korea was rough? Try walking into a city like Philadelphia or Detroit and say the same things. Try mocking the Twin Towers in New York. Try disrespecting a black church in Alabama. Try trolling in a Chinatown that's already sick of racism. You won't just go viral. You might not walk out. Guys, this ain't just about Johnny. This is about clout culture. This is where things are heading. People chasing fame by pushing limits they don't even understand. Let me ask you this. If a foreigner came to your country, mocked your tragedies, disrespected your family's history, what would you do? Would you stay silent? Or would you want justice? Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think Johnny Somali will face real consequences when he comes back to America? Or do you think somehow he'll get away with it again? This story isn't over, and the next chapter might be written right here on US soil, so stay tuned, because when karma lands, it hits hard. And guys, throughout this whole video, I never asked for a like or subscribe, but if you do, it would support this channel in a huge way. Please consider subscribing and liking this video. Thanks for watching.